My name's Guy Kestevan, and today I'm in Cromer to introduce you to the Cycling UK Experience Hub. Three very different bike rides coming out of this beautiful Norfolk seaside town. So first we're going to do a longer route up, primarily road, through some of the stately homes and up to Holt and the coast up near Blakeney. So join me for the ride as I take you through the highlights of this beautiful riding area. Right, so I'm not going to give directions all the way around because that just gets complicated and then you get upset if I miss a bit. But if you swing out of town, past the pitch and putt, following brown signs for the Amazon Zoo, because there is a Amazon themed zoo on the outskirts of Cromer, then you're going the right way. There you go, there's a brown sign up there. That's what you want to be following. And as you can see, it gets spectacular pretty much straight away. What I actually talked about is that all the GPX files and a full route instructions and notes on the places you're passing through will all be on the Cycling UK website as part of the Experience Hub project. So look for Cromer on there. I mean, I'll put a link in the video description. And also, as these ideas spread out across the country, there'll obviously be more and more places to explore. But yeah, all your digital stuff is online at Cycling. You just scoot across here. To the beautiful Felbrigg Hall with the mustard pot cottages. You can actually hire them. They're little rented accommodation if you fancy staying somewhere very, very small but beautiful. But now we're heading in the direction of big but beautiful at Felbrigg House itself, Felbrigg Hall, where you can get a very posh National Trust cup of tea if you're so desire. But mostly it's this beautiful Tudor stately home you're here to visit, with all sorts of exhibits and rooms and paintings and galleries and all that proper Downton Abbey loveliness, but with a particularly fine collection of architectural drawings, or so I've read. So if you like your draftsman's drawings with a bit of Tudor splendour thrown in, Felbrigg Hall's your place. But for us, we're just using it as a lovely, quiet way to cut through and head north out of Cromer. Alright, and yeah, more cobbled farmhouse splendour. Such a signature style of building. These brick bonds and cobbles in between. And I should point out that these two routes are road routes. There is a gravel route I'm doing as a third route, so I'm riding a gravel bike ready for that, but you can do these on any bike, and because the gradients are fairly kind, you know, you don't need mountain bike or touring gears or anything like that. Perfectly accessible, whatever bike you've got. But if you do fancy spicing it up with some off-road sections, there's all sorts of options leading off all over the place. So, you know, just get your head in the map. If you enjoy the area enough, then, you know, certainly not limited to the routes we've put together. Countless combinations of lanes. Wonderful network to play with. And now we're rolling into Lower Gresham. Riding out near Bodham now. Just beautiful, big sky, like almost deserted roads. Seen a couple of other cyclists, and I think one car. I think pretty much it since Felbrigg. And just Lovely rolling gradient, like I say. Still, you know, not totally flat. You're shuffling around in the middle of the block, but easy, luxuriously easy miles. Oh, nice raptor up there. He'll have plenty to feed on. Such rich landscape in terms of agriculture. You just smell things growing after that rain we had on Wednesday. And the road surfaces are brilliant. Idyllic riding country. I actually managed to not say beautiful then. Try and find, the thesaurus is wearing out. It's very poor. So yeah. Oh, Yellowhammer. Oh, if you like your nature and your churches and you're just cruising, pubs, churches, nature, stately homes. Isn't that England? I think I've quiet country lanes. I think I've pretty much recited the recipe for English riding in its iconic form. So, and that's what you're getting here. Felbrigg Pond. Beautiful place to come and sit and contemplate. Watch the fish jump in, and there's swans with cygnets there, there's otters. And it's actually a spring-fed pond, this, and it's all just been recently cleaned up and, you know, restored to this, you know, beautiful little... I mean, I was just scudding past it and just saw a chap sitting up there. But what a beautiful place. It's just on the roll into Holt, so keep an eye out for it, just on the left-hand side of the road. What an amazingly tranquil place. And now, just ducking under the very thoughtfully provided underpass under the main road into Holt. Little town that's ideal for getting your supplies at the far western end of this loop. It's nice when local councils make it a bit more pleasant for cyclists. Always appreciated. Holt itself is a lovely little town. Little market town. Right out at the western end of this loop. And it's not often you get to follow a reliant robin these days. Just coming out of Holt, you realise how weird it is seeing somewhere so busy. Quite a busy little town was Holt. You suddenly realise how quiet things have got. And now we're just going to cut across to the calf. Pigs over there have to be the biggest pigs I've ever seen. They're having a lovely life out here. Oh, more of them. More there. Well, they're having a cracking day for being a pig. And I'm going to head down to the coast, make a pig of myself. I got to that calf and I didn't have much of a view, to be fair. Sorry, calf. But yeah, I think we'll drop down to the coast. See what I can find down there. Quite interesting, just back there. Big old pothole. And you can see in the base of it, it's all just the original flint cobbled surface of this road. I'm an archaeologist by trade. Can't help looking in holes. And you can just see, you know, this whole landscape has such a kind of ancient basis. Such a fertile place. I mean, and obviously North Norfolk, you know, didn't need reclaiming from the sea half as much as South Norfolk, but you know, still a lot of these places would have been islands in certain periods of history. Now here's a test. Do we know how deep that is?
It's 6 feet in the middle. If you're okay.
Oh, is it 6 feet in the middle?
No,
right.
No, I have no idea.
Well, here's a decision.
No, we've not.
I'm cowering out. That looks fairly deep in the middle. And my feet have only just warmed up from Wednesday. After that ride to Norwich, they got proper cold in the mud then. So, cruise on with dry feet. Have a nice walk. See you later.
Okay, bye.
And again, Glanford. Another beautiful, beautiful village. Oh, for Lord's sake, I wish I could stop saying beautiful. Glanford. Another absolutely gorgeous picturesque village. How do? Lovely Flemish influenced houses there. Like I say, a lot of Flemish influence in this region. Very low countries. And just rolling up along the edges of Weybourne Down now. Nature reserve. Big heathland off on the right hand side. It's definitely feeling a bit more coastal now. And that's because we're just about to drop down to the sea at Blakeney. So hopefully get some lunch there, because the cafe at the top wasn't the cafe I was expecting. The art cafe was shut. And there's a very nice smokehouse deli back there, but I'll be honest, I fancy some food that I haven't made myself. So let's go looking for that down at the coast. Maybe it's fish and chips Friday. What do you reckon? Now I'm just taking a little bit of bonus bridleway farm track, but if you're on a road bike you just head right at this bit and you're down the road. It's actually a quicker way straight the road down into Blakeney, but saw this on the map, I thought let's give it an explore. And you also means you get some interesting prehistoric remains. A big old barrow cemetery up here. Round barrows, probably Bronze Age. And it's obviously been a very important area, this side, high ground, just inland from the coast. Understandably important. You know, you've got the Roman camp at the back of Cromer and Sheringham there, but this is more prehistoric settlement here. So I mean, obviously our bungalow's not Roman, but this farm's probably been here for millennia. Certainly a great place to have one, and that's an old World War II Nissen hut. Those rounded huts, very characteristic kind of prefabricated huts they used to build on airfields, just, you know, temporary buildings during the war, and you still get loads of them used as farm sheds like that. But there we go, there's the sea in front of us, so we'll roll down for a bit of a stop, because this is kind of, yeah, looking at the GPS, this is as far west as we get. So we're trundling back to Cromer from here, so a good point to have a stop and a snack. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, Blakeney's a real find. I'm very glad we came all the way out here. Some amazing buildings. And then, all right, and then, you know, the sea coming in there. Pictures at Weybourne date back from when it was actually pretty much an island. And this is one of the areas that, as you can see, used to be really flooded. You've got the two villages either side, almost like islands at times, because the tides used to come up a lot higher. We're heading across Salthouse Heath, which in this ancient woodland gets extra kind of history points from the fact it's loaded with burial mounds, prehistoric cemetery up here, Bronze Age, possibly slightly earlier. So this is obviously an area, and you know, and for good reason. It's beautiful up here. You know, obviously very rich soil, and it's high above the coast, so you know, it's a natural sort of area to settle away from any worries about flooding, but you can just nip down the hill to get your fish and your wildfowl, because we know, you know from excavations, those are super important parts of prehistoric diet. Big into their fish and their game, as it would be, you know. It's before, we're talking early domestication of cattle, but certainly not on the scale we're seeing now. But again, just a lovely, yet more timeless miles on the bike in Norfolk. Loving this trip, absolutely loving it. It's a lazy one. Like I say, the only thing I'm struggling with is to put a huge amount of effort in. It's just so nice to enjoy this lazy countryside at a lazier pace. Important in the prehistoric period, this area was key to the defence of Britain during the Second World War. Obviously all those beaches were ripe for landing on, so there were minefields all the way along them, coastal defences. But even inland, if you drop the archaeological record for the Second World War on top of here, it pretty much buries the entire place. Loads of sort of machine gun emplacements, artillery emplacements, pillboxes. I mean, to be fair, you don't see much of them now, but all right, very, very important area. I mean, as it was, you know, was never tested, but after the invasion of Norway in particular, could not be too careful. Dan's army would have been out here in force. And if you head left here, there's a massive military museum. So if you like your planes and your artillery and riding around in tanks, then that's just that way. But I'm just popping down to the beach to see what that looks like. It's only half, you know, it's only half a kilometre. Rude not to. Because we do like to be beside the seaside. Genuinely. Not just because it's a song. You know, this is a coastal landscape, so I've deliberately designed the routes to kind of dip in and out on a frequent basis, just give you all the different signs, because obviously there are many different kinds of seaside, and we pretty much get all of them on this ride. It's amazing how diverse the coastline is around here. This is totally different to just up round the corner, but definitely worth the detour down. And there's the Heath we've been coming over, so about to roll back up there, and then around the back of Sheringham and back to Cromer. Now, it doesn't get much more old school than this little blast from the past on the North Norfolk Railway. Little old diesel train. Look at that, what a beautiful station. Oh, well, this has been such a good little diversion. I nearly sacked it off on the map, but definitely worth putting in. Some of the highlights of the trip on this. There is a bit of a climb after the bridge and the station though, so if you want to keep the route entirely leg friendly, then just stay up on the high ground and go straight across towards High Kelling. But you can always walk. It's only a couple of 100 metres. Bit of your military history here. An old concrete pillbox. Little machine gun embouchure in That would have covered, obviously that hedge would have been down, would have covered a fair old distance, defending the high ground. And one thing I've not really talked about is there are so many places to stay around here as well. The accommodation amount and the variety. I mean, I've been starting and finishing each of these routes outside Hotel de Paris, Hotel Paris in Cromer, where Oscar Wilde once stayed and Stephen Fry used to work there as a waiter. And it was actually built as the residence of a lord, and then converted into a hotel later. But you know, there's woodland lodges, there's glamping, hotels. I stayed in the youth hostel in Sheringham, which is great if you're on a budget. They were super friendly, obviously very cycle ready as well. But you know, this whole area loaded with places to stay. So even in the current climate where you're having to fight to find somewhere to pitch up, this area is definitely better than most. Rolling through West Beckham now, and we go straight across to, you never believe it, East Beckham, and then we're rolling back down towards Felbrigg again, because this is where the route does get a bit tight. It's quite hard to find a nice way back in to Cromer. Well, certainly when the route past Felbrigg is just so good, it seems silly not to use it twice. So I hope you're okay with that, to find a way in and out of Sheringham, because it's a lovely little town. Like I say, I stayed there last night. Fantastic little place. Having a pub meal with the sun going down over the sea. And it's only 2 miles over there, but you can get in fairly quietly on the junction just back there, but getting back out again is really hard without using main roads, or at least roads that were surprisingly busy when I did try them. But if you can, it is such a super little town, it's well worth it. Right, so that's the 2 road loops done, and I have to say it's been a fantastic set of routes to explore. Never ridden around here, never even been here before, but what a surprisingly diverse and interesting landscape from in terms of the geography, the wildlife, the environment, the history. So much going on here, and a really, really friendly vibe from everyone I've met as well. So can't recommend coming here enough. So massive thanks to Cycling UK for commissioning this Experience Hub project, and thanks to Norfolk and the local councils who've helped with planning on this. Massive thanks to Giro Cycling UK for sponsoring the channel. Thanks to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. And yeah, make sure you obviously I'll be writing this up as as text and photographs for the website and for a series of Experience Hub guides. Make sure you look at the ones for Wroxham and Hoveton, which I filmed the other day. I mean, only 10 miles away, but a completely different riding environment. So different. You know, you're down in the Broads there, the flatlands, whereas this is very much a different coastal vibe up here. So make sure you check out all the content on that. I'll put links in the description below. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guy Kest TV in a beautiful Norfolk seaside town of Cromer.